the challenge lie. La 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 la.
There's a morning for every nation when the sun's high in the sky. There's a time for every people to affirm their destiny. La 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 la.
Even so, all of us together can create a better land. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. There's a morning for every nation when the sun's high in the sky. There's a time for every people to affirm their destiny. La 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 la. Even so, all of us together can create a better land. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand. La 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 la. Leave the past, a new tomorrow waits for all who understand.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nayaswami Dharmini, and this is my husband. Almost mixed us up. One of those darn names. So today's Rays of One Light reading is week 45. Faith is a call to prayer. Prayer is a call to faith. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness in itself. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. In the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapters 7 and 21, we read, "Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. Verily I say unto you, if you have faith and doubt not, if ye shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done. And all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive." Paramahansa Yogananda showed by his own example that prayer is a power, provided we believe deeply in that power. When our thoughts and feelings are strongly focused and then united in growing awareness to the divine presence within, they can bring even seemingly unrealistic wishes to fulfillment. When Paramahansa Yogananda was in charge of his school in Ranchi, India, he took the boys on occasional outings to the surrounding countryside. There was a waterfall not far away, he told Swami Priyananda, where I took them sometime. It was dangerous to cross there, but I would cry out to the boys, "Do you believe in God?" "Yes," they would shout back enthusiastically. And so we always crossed in safety. Years later, after I'd gone to America, one of the teachers tried to do the same thing, but he lacked spiritual power. One of the boys slipped on a rock and was drowned. Thus, the master explained, belief alone is not enough. It must be united to one-pointed awareness, which leads to self-realization. The Bhagavad Gita in the 6th chapter underscores the necessity of such one-pointed concentration. Whenever the mind, fickle and restless, wanders off from its concentration, let the meditating yogi withdraw it resolutely, spurning every distraction, no matter how alluring, and bring it back again and again under the control of the self. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Well, it is a real joy to greet you all, even whatever space we might be in, but especially in this space. I thought I would address the question today, why are we here? And I think the first question, the first aspect of that could be, why are we even here in Los Angeles? What is Ananda Los Angeles? When did it start? This is obviously a momentous day to be in this space, and I thought it would be helpful to look back and to see how we got to the point where we are now. And so I'm going to play a short clip from the founding of Ananda LA. It was in 2007, and Dharmadevi was there, and Bharavi was there, and anyone else? Raise your hand if you were there when Swami spoke in that high school auditorium. Badrini Dale, you guys, okay, all right. So our veterans, our founding members here. So let me play that for you now, and if you can't hear, then just come a little closer. Sorry, that's... Everyone awake and ready?
Hello?
I can't resist. We used to have that, what would happen in India. Sometimes, despite all of our exhortations, the cell phones would stay on, and we would be in choir practice, and the cell phone would go off, and it would get answered. Hello? Yeah, hi. No, I'm in choir practice. No, it's okay. No, go ahead. What? And anyway, okay. I wonder if that's Arzu.
Please sit down. Okay. It's a joy to see you here. It's a joy to be here. In India, the question has been asked from ancient times, why did God create the universe? And the classic answer has been that he might enjoy himself through men. And you see the suffering. You see the bitterness, and you see the darkness in people's eyes, and you wonder, what was he talking about? Is he a sadist? There's not much joy in people's lives. But when you saw the people today singing, when you see Mantra Devi and Krishna Das, and other people of Ananda in that presentation of Ananda worldwide, this gives you an example that everybody in the world is longing for that. He can be the worst mafioso, but what he really wants is bliss, and he just doesn't know it. And when people can begin to come out into that light and to understand that, yes, joy is the reality of life, you see it in their faces. You just feel like embracing them all in God. This is the age, that's why Lahiri Mahasaya came as a householder. This is the age when householders can be devotees. And at Ananda we have proved that. Because we have householders, we have children, we have schools. And these children are coming up into our way of life and have joined us. And it's absolutely wonderful. In a group of several hundred people, you just never hear a loud or unkind word. You never see people getting angry. Look at the soaps on the afternoon TV. Every one of them, somebody's shouting at somebody, hitting somebody. People talk about family. How many family? The brother sues the brother, the children sue the parents. That's just appalling. A true family, Jesus put it this way. He said, who is my mother and father and brother and sister? Save him who loves God. When you are with people who love God, and you can love God together, isn't it wonderful? Yes, since I'm asking the question, I should answer it. Yes, it is. It is. When you find Because everybody has his downs, everybody goes through his tests, everybody has certain difficulties. But how wonderful it is when you're with people who try to help you instead of push you down further. This is what Ananda is. Ananda is truly a cooperative community, not just in work, but in emotional life, ups and downs, in helping each other, in rooting for each other. We all want the best from others. There's none of this slandering and criticizing and backbiting. You find kindness there. And this is what I want more than anything else. Why can't people be kind? They're happier when they're kind. There's no reason to be unkind. It makes you feel so dirty when you're unkind. And so clean when you love everybody. And seeing God in this choir. And seeing so many different expressions of that joy in each one. You just have to love every one of them. And again, with this attitude, when you walk down the streets and you see people with suffering faces, grim faces, bitter faces, you just want to inject a little serum of joy. Each one of them has that potential. Nobody can be defined by his bitterness or anger or hatred. All of us have to be defined by our true nature, which is bliss. So do get behind this work if you can. Do what you can for it, but I hope we can build a really big thing here. I want the world to know that Master was a master of love, of compassion, of joy, of tolerance, not intolerance, not of institutionalism, but of self-realization. He was to each person his own dearest friend. I would see that in his eyes. I would see it in his comportment. Help others to feel that by being that yourselves. Thank you for coming. God bless you.
So that is why we are here. And now why are we here in this place? Just for the few of you who may not know. Of course, we're normally in the ashram on Highland, and that building's lease expires in April of next year. We don't have the option to renew it, and so we are looking for a new temple and for a new community. This has been thrust upon us by Divine Mother, and so we know she has something in mind, and we are just scurrying around trying to decipher it. Now, in terms of this particular place, Ram found this church for sale some time ago, and Bharavi also had seen it, and they said, what about a church that's on Franklin and Kenmore? Why don't we go check it out? And so numbers of us made phone calls and looked at the place and felt it out. We had a tour recently, and we really enjoyed the vibration, which I don't need to describe because hopefully you're feeling it right now. It's amazing what has... welcome. It's amazing how welcoming, in fact, this space feels to us. And when we wrote to Swami Kriyananda about this, different ones of us wrote, and we said, this is a church that we're looking at to possibly make into our new temple. He said, I'm 100% for it. And he didn't say, well, feel out your options and see. You never know what God wants. He didn't say, we don't want to be attached. He said, I'm 100% for it. And we took from that we need to willingly embrace this new change that's being handed to us, and that it represents new growth and everything. Now, we found out from the real estate agent that the house of God is in escrow with another buyer, and that buyer has had the church in escrow for a long time because it hasn't gone through yet, because he wants to convert this church into basically a music studio or a music school. And you can imagine, it reminds me, reminiscent of when Master was trying to buy Mount Washington, and another one of the buyers was boasting how he was going to turn it into a movie school. So a certain parallel there. Master also went in and dedicated Mount Washington before he even bought it. And I think we may be doing something similarly ourselves here today. Now, regarding the city has to approve and basically grant this buyer a variance to say, will we allow you to convert this church into a non-religious space? And I was speaking to the realtor, who was actually a member of the previous congregation of this church. I should mention, the founding congregation of this church, it was a Methodist church, I believe, in 1932 or something like that. And they left the church because they got too big. And so then another group bought the church, and they moved out because they got too big. So you kind of see what might possibly happen here. There's obviously a blessed success karma of this space. When I spoke to the realtor about this, he said, well, actually, the neighbors would love for it to be a music studio because the guy only has like a staff of 6 people. And so there would only be 6 cars impacting the neighborhood. I don't need to tell you about the cars in the neighborhood. If you drove here this morning and tried to find a place to park, you know what I mean. And I said, well, that may be good, but I think the neighborhood was also blessed by having a church where people were gathered together and offering their love up to God, whether the people in the community were even interested or aware or even in favor of it. They were still benefiting from that devotion taking place right in their neighborhood. And I'm sure you all were a blessing to them, I said to him, because he was a member of this congregation. And he said, well, I agree. And so we realized that at this point in time, there's really nothing we can do outwardly to make this happen in terms of actually, speaking to somebody or doing something or signing something or anything like that. We just have to wait and see. So it's interesting how Master has us in this holding pattern. And so we asked ourselves, well, if we can't do anything outwardly, what can we do inwardly, spiritually? And so one thing we did was say, well, why don't we have a Sunday service there? You can rent the place, and so here we are. But also, we came up with an affirmation that we're going to all do together at the end of this, at the end of this long tirade. So the first part of this affirmation, the first affirmation was for building our spiritual family here in Los Angeles. That's what we're here for. There was a question, we were kind of sitting around the table saying, well, we need a new temple and we need a new community, or not even ashram, but community is even better word. And we were thinking, well, we could do both in the same model, the same one house does it all, maybe. But in terms of thinking perhaps more broadly, because although we love the place on Highland, it's very hard to find. I just told someone the other day, green awnings, look for the green awnings. I mean, that's as much as we can advertise. We thought of trimming the hedges in a way that kind of say Ananda on them, but we would probably be busted. So we want to expand our soul family, and so the question came up, should we focus more on finding a new community and home, or should we focus more on finding a temple? And of course we have to find both. But Ramesha pointed out that the temple we want to be able to serve everyone and to serve all those who are still on their way here. And that's why we're here, is to serve and to spread Master's work. Each one of us is here for that purpose. And so he said, let's focus first on the temple, and then if Divine Mother wants us to still live here and participate in the temple activities, she'll have to find a place for us all to live. She'll have to find us a community. And so we began coming up with an affirmation, and I want to read it to you because it bears on the next part. So, the first prayer demand for attracting our soul group goes like this. Dear Master, you have brought us to LA to do your work. Magnetize us so that we may draw your soul children to this divine family. Unite us in thy bond of soul friendship and Kriya Yoga. Bring your children to us. And I should mention, you have brought us to LA means any of us brought here to this spot, regardless of what year we arrived in LA. I think Martin may be the oldest veteran of all. And then the next affirmation is for our new temple and our new community. Master, we want to take our next step in service to Thee. Bring us to our new temple and to our new community. We are 100% for it. And we realized we had to add our willingness, our energy, our saying, yes, we want to grow. Not, I hope you come up with something by April, and then... We had to say, we want this. We want to grow. We want to expand. And again, with this temple, we have said, this temple, or something better, or if God wills it, and that is all true. But that should be a tiny footnote right now. I think we should say, if you feel to, this temple. Not against the prospective buyer. I was trying to work this out in my heart, just saying, I don't want to pray against him and his music studio. But then I thought, if this is Master's next temple, one idea that was passed out was possibly Ananda Hollywood Temple, with Master's face right on the sign, right out there that people drive by, him blessing people as they drive to and from work and home every day. That if this is his temple, he knows it already, and so it's obviously therefore not the best solution for the music studio man. And so I can just pray for that aspect without wanting, again, to do any injury. This is interesting because this happened with the actual purchase of Ananda property itself. That it happened because the farmer, the owner of the big property up near Nevada City, was dying of cancer and was told he had a very short time to live, and so he was encouraged to sell off his property. And so he did. And that suddenly there was this big rush on that property, and that's how many of you know the story. Swami bought the land. But Swami always felt a little sadness in his heart that his Master's great good fortune had come at the expense of someone else's misfortune. And he learned many years later through a common family friend that actually that doctor recovered, that his cancer disappeared after he sold the property, and that he lived on for many years. So these affirmations we did to churn the ether, to say, Master, this is our intention, to unite ourselves, and also to say, remove the blockages, and let's have the energy move forward. Now, what's also interesting in that is that as much as we are churning the ether all around us, we end up churning the ether right in here as well. And so what we found was that suddenly new people started coming to us, and actually literally the day after we started doing the affirmation. But we also saw that certain discomforts started emerging, certain frustrations with the way things were going started coming out. I'm not pointing any fingers or blaming anyone. If anyone started it, it was me. And I mean that. And I'm sorry for that. Now, but on the other hand, these things are good, because there were things that had gotten off balance that needed to be corrected. Things that in the scuffle had kind of been lost sight of. And so these things too, Divine Mother was saying, it's time to do your own laundry. And it's time for the community itself to get stronger. And I was walking with someone recently, and he said, what is going to build our community is not more advertising or more banners hanging in windows and more email blasts and text message blasts and so on. Of course, these things are fine. But he said what really will build our community is love. Just as Swami was saying, is love. Love for one another, and above all, love for God. And that's what we felt as we worked through these difficult things is that the love of everyone's heart is where everything ended. That was when we sort of sifted through each one of ourselves to the bottom. We came up with love, with friendship, with a sense of deeper spiritual community. We ourselves, Dharmini and I, were very grateful for the people who approached us and said, I would like to see this different. I would like to see this change. Of course, we couldn't make all changes overnight, but we were very grateful again for people's openness and in some cases courage. Someone said, I was really afraid to even bring it up. I said, you were afraid of me? You were afraid of me? Really? Wow. No one's ever been afraid of me. And so, but then still we have to ask ourselves, why are we here? Are we even here to build Ananda LA's work and to build Master's mission and have impact on this community? Certainly, but only in the sense that it helps each one of us draw closer to God. You can imagine that Master was up in the astral world and said, okay, Babaji, you know, there's a bunch of people here who really are close, but they need to do some more work, and I want to send them down to find out how they can get into samadhi and final freedom. We've got to give them something to do, to work out this karma. What should we do? And Babaji said, spiritual community. And Master said, yes, excellent. Okay, you all go down and start spiritual communities throughout the world. Why? Because it's needed, because it gives us something to do. Really, spiritual community is a great principle. And Master said that environment is stronger than willpower. The most important thing on the spiritual path is to love God, but a great secondary thing is satsang, the strength of fellow seekers. But really, on the other hand, a spiritual community is basically a great big hamster wheel for us as devotees to just get our exercise and just kind of work off the karma and build our own strength to find God. And I wish I could bring it up here, the sacred YouTube video that many of us have seen of the hamster that runs so fast on the wheel and loses its footing and then goes around in the hamster wheel 12 times before it gets tossed out. And some of us felt like that was us this week. So I just want to close, in place of the usual reading from Whispers, I wanted to read Master's last words, his last advice that he gave to the monks right before his passing. And not all of us, of course, are living a strictly monastic life, and so, of course, take this into your own heart in the way, but I really feel this is what he was asking of all of us. No one can give you the desire for God. You must cultivate that desire in yourselves. God himself couldn't give it to you, for when he created human beings, he didn't make them puppets. You must desire him yourself. Be wary of developing too keen an intelligence. Many people use their powers of reasoning cleverly to justify their delusions. Concentrate more instead on developing heart quality. Devote as much time as you can daily to meditation, to actually experiencing God. Don't sleep too much. Sleep is the unconscious way of contacting God. Sleep is counterfeit ecstasy. Don't joke too much. I myself, as you know, like a good laugh. But if I make up my mind to be serious, no one can make me even smile. Be happy and cheerful. Above all, inwardly. Be outwardly grave, but inwardly cheerful. Don't waste the perception of God's presence acquired in meditation by useless chatting. Idle words are like bullets. They riddle the milk pail of peace. In devoting time unnecessarily to conversation and exuberant laughter, you will have nothing left inside. I'll put a little asterisk that some exuberant laughter is okay. Fill the pail of your consciousness with the milk of meditative peace, and then keep it filled. Joking is false happiness. Too much laughter riddles the mind and lets the peace in the buckets flow out, wasting it. Don't waste time on distractions, reading too much and so on. Reading can be good if it's instructive or inspiring, but if you let it interfere with meditation, it becomes an evil. Read only a little bit to find inspiration, but spend most of your time in meditative silence. Practice watching the breath with Hong Sa in the spine if you like. Go up and down the spine with it, instead of watching its flow in the nostrils. Tell your body, if you don't meditate regularly, I will give you a whipping. Meditate even 1.5 hours at a time if you can. Everything you do, even if it is only picking up a straw off the ground, like Brother Lawrence, offer it mentally to God. If only you will do that, He will reach down and help you. Another thing I urge all of you, give to one another the respect you have always shown me. Be kind to one another, just as you have been kind to me. If you see evil in one another, you desecrate the image of God that is in both of you. God is in everyone. To see good in all is to see Him everywhere. And let's close with our affirmation that I just read. Both of them. Let me just bring it up here. I'm sorry. Somehow this TV seems really big in the ashram. Yeah, the world's smallest big screen TV. So, and you would think, the next step would be to get a bigger one, but maybe the next step is to get 5 bigger ones, because there's one there too. There's 2 there. Okay, so hopefully you can read this, and let's just do this together with great... No, you have us, because we're all here, actually. So, we'll do this now 3 times. Let's just take a moment to get centered, to feel the space that we're in, as if it is our new home. That this is our next step, not only for us personally to have a place to enjoy and to spend time in God, but to bring so many more the benefits that we have each received. When I was doing a short scene in the movie, the Ananda movie, which will probably end up on the cutting floor, but the actress asked me in between takes, is anyone able to come to your community, or is it just for you all? And I sort of, without even thinking, I answered, this is such a wonderful thing that each one of us has discovered. Why wouldn't we want to share it with everyone? And she said, and the director said, say that in the next take. So we said that in the next take. So let's do this together now.
Dear Master, you have us in LA to do your work. Magnetize us so that we may draw your soul children to this divine family. Unite us in thy bond of soul friendship and create yoga. Bring your children to us. Dear Master, you have us in LA to do your work. Magnetize us so that we may draw your soul children to this divine family. Unite us in thy bond of soul friendship and create yoga. Bring your children to us. Dear Master, you have us in LA to do your work. Magnetize us so that we may draw your soul children to this divine family. Unite us in thy bond of soul friendship and create yoga. Bring your children to us.
And let's just meditate a moment. Let's do the second affirmation for our new temple and our new community.
Master, we want to take our next step in service to Thee. Bring us to our new temple and to our new community. We are 100% for it. Master, we want to take our next step in service to Thee. Bring us to our new temple and to our new community. We are 100% for it. Master, we want to take our next step in service to Thee. Bring us to our new temple and to to our new community. We are 100% for it.
And let's rub our hands together, uniting our devotion to God and Gurus, and chanting Om, sending out waves of love and power, chanting Om 3 times.
Lift your hearts up to the Lord.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Spread the news that He is joy.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Sing to the mountains, sing to the meadows, sing hallelujah, God is joy.
Lift your hearts up to the